Hey guys, it is Kat, day one of our 50-day challenge rounding out 2017 this November 13th. We're going to end January 2nd, 2018. 50 days from now, it's going to be a new you, a new year, and lots of progress. For me, I've done a few 50-day cycles, and this one is going to be dedicated to my YouTube channel. This is the first of many posts here on the channel. I am looking forward to getting my message out of how I went from around 222 pounds to right now standing around 162, maybe going to lose a little bit more weight, becoming a healthy and fit mentally, physically, spiritually person. I've also become a vegetarian, very plant-based diet. I wouldn't say that I would ever be a vegan because of my love of honey and all things bee product. So thank you for that, bee population. I have come up with a cyclic process that I call 50 days. What you do is you break down something that you want to change. Maybe you want to quit smoking. Maybe you want to lose 10 pounds. You want to have a better understanding of your loved ones in your family. This cycle is something that you start with. It's not always going to be the ends to a mean within 50 days. One of the cycles, I started to drink more water. I made a process of every day drinking more and more water until I was getting the amount of water that I needed. So that did start it in one 50-day cycle. Another cycle that I did was I was stopping to drink sake every night. I would get home, have a couple of shots of sake, warm some more up, have a couple more, and put that damp on my brain. I would just not want to feel like doing anything, and I'd had lots of things to do. And more importantly, I was squelching a lot of emotional baggage that I had accumulated over the many years, especially over the past 3 years prior. I had had a friend commit suicide. I lost a good friendship, and my father had a very serious accident that nearly cost him his life. So I was using this sake to just not feel. So I tried it once, I tried it twice, and the third time it took. So it's planting a seed. It doesn't necessarily work. This cycle, I'm working on YouTube. I'm going to learn the ins and outs of how to post and recording videos and live streaming and getting subscribers and sending my message out of the 50-day cycle, as well as the process that I've come up with called Think. When you're trying to change maybe an emotional or physical pattern within yourself, maybe your mental dialogue is a little negative, I've come up with a process called Think. You identify your triggers. What is your stressor? What sets you off? What is that thing that's like, boom, takes you from 0 to 60 in like no time flat? Then how do you deal with that trigger? Does it make you mad? Does it make you sad? Do you withdraw? Do you eat? Do you smoke? Are you passive aggressive? There's many different things. And then how would you like to react to that trigger? You know, what is it that your ideal self sees? Like, you not reacting, it's not important. You let your ego go and you just dealt with it. And then what you need to do after that is you initialize a plan that helps you to change this trigger. You realize that you're reacting to it. You're getting hot under the collar, and you catch yourself in the moment and you hold back. It's a whole process. And over this 50-day cycle, you get better and better and better at it until you're done with it and you take it to the next level. Maybe you want to change another habit, or going to build upon the first habit that you have worked on for your first 50-day cycle. It works on itself, and then you keep it going. And you also pay it forward with karma. I have really been very successful with it, and I'm looking forward to showing you how to break it down into simpler forms. It was just a very cursory explanation. This is my first time here. I'm looking forward to seeing the progression from today until the 50 days from now on January 2nd, and where I've come. We're going to be a little flashy. We're going to have a backdrop, like effects. I don't know. I'm super excited. I do want to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I stand for. Like I had said before, around 3 years ago, I was sitting at about 222 pounds. It wasn't my heaviest. My heaviest was around 300 when I was the most pregnant with my daughter. And then for about 2 or 3 years after that, I hung around 280, 270. I had the opportunity, excuse me, to stay at home with her. I was home with her from 1999, the turn of the century, to 2014. That was 14 crazy years that happened. Remember, everything was supposed to blow up in 1999. You know, Prince was singing about it again, and all the computers were supposed to go and fry, and then that didn't happen, and then the 2000s happened, and then it's 2017 now. So I was home with her for 14 years. During that time, I really blossomed as a person. I gained about, I don't know, 50, 60 pounds. Very poor eating habits. I really wasn't taking care of myself. I did not have a lot of self-love. I really poured a lot of it into being a mother. I am a very, very good mother. Much to my shock, I wasn't sure that I wanted to have children. No, that was the greatest gift that I ever did have, was my daughter. So I am very grateful for the opportunity to have been able to stay at home with her. But it did cost me a career, because prior to that, I was a professional person, and I had been moving along that ladder. Then I stayed home for 14 years, and in that time frame, so many things changed. LinkedIn, Indeed.com, Monster.com, the hand resume going door to door and introducing yourself is primarily gone. Trying to put in keywords, figuring out a whole entire new resume. How do you put 14 years of of what I did as a stay-at-home mom, and people have this gap and they think I was in prison. That was the first assumption that I did when I went back. So that was a whole entire learning curve. So I did eventually end up getting a job. Ironically, it was at a place where my mother worked as a when I was a kid. I loved it dearly. I work in retail. I work at Spencer's in a mall here. It is very interesting because I work with the younger crowd, and it's keeping me young, and it's also taught me a whole entirely different age set. Even from when I was that age, it's an entirely different way of living. It's the world is completely different than when I grew up. This is kind of a benefit of a person that I am. I have an interesting perspective of coming from the 60s, like a hippie type person, although I was all of two in the 60s, living through the 70s and the 80s, and now into this new millennial age of the computers and being a stay-at-home mom, and then almost being 50 to me now is like almost coming back and being a 20-year-old again, and I'm learning all these new things, and working in retail has really taught me a lot about myself. It wasn't the professional career that I had before. It was a whole entirely different thing, which I'm very proud of being able to do. It's a long, hard day sometimes, standing on your feet and dealing with people. Dealing with people is my thing, and I've used it to try to interact and talk with someone and get to know them. I know much about myself, so I interact with people and find out about where they're from. I meet people from all over the world, and it is that is the most incredible thing about that job. I am hoping to, in these next 50 days, to inspire you to get out there and start your own 50-day cycle. If you see this video, you're going to start with me. I'm looking to grow myself as well, because also within this 50-day cycle, I'm going to get some more fitness goals and fitness tips, being a vegetarian. And the other thing is I make jewelry. So I'm going to do some jewelry tutorials. I'm not really sure where I'm going. There's just so many things. I think that's about it for this evening. I am hoping that you enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to learning, and I am looking forward to sharing, and I am also looking forward to hearing from you guys and telling me your successes, sharing with me perhaps the times that are not so good. It's an entire process. It's not easy, because really, I would tell you the number one message about something about personal change is one of the hardest things that you're ever going to do. And to be able to embrace it, you need to be a little bit of a masochist and accept that it's going to be a painful process. But know that on the other side of this process, that it's going to be a better you, and you're building on a solid foundation for yourself, and you build it up bit by bit by bit. So sometimes when life hands you things that you don't feel that you can handle and you want to crumble, it's only a little bit because you have this solid foundation that you can rely on. And it's my hope that I'm going to help you build that solid foundation as well as building myself up as well. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Make it cat, make it count, and pay it forward. Much love, everybody. Cat out.